Good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this May 28th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. We're glad that you are here with us today. You want to find our content, go to EOA.network. EOA.network, that takes you to a link tree where you can find our Facebook, our YouTube page, our Roku channel, our Instagram, and all of the places where our content is distributed. Glad you're here with us. Here in a little bit, we are going to have Charlie Rohlf. He is the senior trooper for the Oregon State Police, and going to have a conversation. First time we've had an Oregon State Police officer with us here, and we're going to have a great conversation. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Good. I don't know him well enough yet, but you know how I always greet the other law enforcement agencies with a joke, but I don't. You didn't have one? No, I'm going to wait until we establish a little bit of rapport before and we start busting jokes on it.
And we didn't have the right donut array this morning.
No, definitely not. Yeah, doing good. Just everything's slowing down for me. It's crazy. I was talking with Bennett yesterday, like literally less than 2 months until Shrine, and they haven't even put out the rosters yet.
Do they normally get it out by now?
Like
a
few months ago, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten one phone call about Shrine.
Yeah.
And usually I've had like 10 by now at least.
Yeah.
Like just, trying to figure out schedules for getting
stuff that's going on.
The queens interviewed and the captains but I don't even know what they're doing.
Well, thankfully, we know what we're doing anyhow.
Absolutely, that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, no big change up on our side.
No.
But
still a little concerning that there's not rosters out
yet.
Yeah.
Well, I was a part of their meeting. They've had a couple of Zoom meetings, and so, but it's just
Yeah, I just don't know what are you going to do? Tell the kids a week before? Yeah,
it's crazy. I can tell you that it is with every volunteer organization everywhere, it is and that's a super big event. So, but it's a challenge. So,
oh yeah, I mean I'm not bashing on anybody. I'm just saying we people need to know it's 2 months away.
Man, don't say that.
By the way,
you give me
can you play in the Shine game tomorrow?
You give me a little anxiety just thinking about it.
Well, that's what was me yesterday when I was telling Benny. I'm like, man, it's only 2 months until Shrine.
Yeah.
And then I had to think about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's really fast. Months go by really fast when you're old. Probably go by double fast for you.
Oh, that's rude, man.
Well, hey, that's payback for calling my friend old the other day.
I called him friend?
Nick, you said you look old to somebody my age.
Nick, which one did I say?
Hickey, the one with the beard, the gray beard, the dad and the son that were here from Optimus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but when your beard, I mean, there's a reason that he looked older than you. You got to admit.
Oh,
I mean, him and his dad's beard are the same color, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he's got a little bit of.
A little bit of gray.
No, he's got a little bit of real color.
Yeah. Right.
His dad is straight up white.
Well, I can tell you that I constantly see people that are my age.
Yeah.
And I go oh man, they are old, and then it flashes oh crap, I know what that means. All right, hey, you want to do sports?
Let's do it.
All right.
AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. The Flex Steel Statements Collection brings warmth, structure, and comfort to any space. See the full collection at Northwest Furniture and Mattress in LeGrand. Sleep like a log. It's still just so weird to say that. I don't know. I like Big Red Rocking Chair on Elm.
Yeah.
I was in LeGrand better. I mean, I'd change them up.
Yeah, maybe they need to put a big log up there rather than the rocking chair.
Hey, when Johnny and I were doing the ball game show, we were going to put Johnny in that chair and take pictures.
Right, yeah, which would have been awesome.
Did it. Yeah. We could. I mean, I'm not getting up there. I put Bennett in there and take a picture of him. LHS baseball lost a tough one on the road to state in the opening round of the OSAA 4A state playoffs. The Tigers led by as much as 8 in the game. It was like 10-2 in the second inning. I was watching, and it just kind of fell apart. They went from, commanding pitching the first 2 innings, and then the pitching just went away. I think they walked 10 and made 5 errors. And when you walk 10 and make 5 errors, you generally don't win. And it's hard to not win when you score 14 runs. And they lost 15-14. Their season's over. Thank you to Arlie Anderson for the pictures. The baseball loss for the Tigers wraps up the 25-26 school year for LeGrand Sports. And we're going to be moving into Legion. It's going to slow down a little bit for me. The EOU sports season's over, and the Mounties won more championships this season than any other team in the CCC. They won 7 team championships in the conference this year, and that just goes to show the level of commitment and excellence that the whole staff up at EOU in the sports department is completely committed to not only winning championships, but also instilling good values in young adults, and it's great to see. I'm 100% a fan of the culture up at EOU with the sports departments, and all the coaches, they all have the same mindset, and that's refreshing and nice to see. Next up is the LeGrand Legends baseball season. And then, obviously, what we just talked about on the 25th of July, the East-West Shrine game in Baker City, live streamed right here on the EOA network. AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress, Big Red Rocking Chair, on Elm, off Adams, in LeGrand.
Cool. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, short one today. Not too much to talk about.
All right, well, let's take a look outside. There it is, our downtown weather cam. If you guys ever want to tune in and just look downtown, or you're from out of the area, we have a lot of people from.
It used to be a little more exciting when the people lived in Max Square. It was funner to watch. Do you remember when they had a dining room table and a mattress out there like it was their living room?
No.
So people did.
Yeah, I can imagine so. I'm generally, let's not get off. All right. Let's look at the weather graphic, Bennett. So 82 today. It's going to be warm. That's Kyle weather, man.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Except for I don't want the rain.
Yeah.
But then it turns around and goes right back down to like 66 on Sunday.
It's just been weird. But it looks like it's going to be fairly dry. Today,
Graduation's on Saturday too for the high school. This Saturday.
Yeah. So what percentage of rain? Also 89% today. I can't quite read that.
That looks like in the 80s to me.
Yeah.
88.
88, yeah. All right. So, but over the weekend, hopefully it'll be dry for high school graduation.
They do it inside though, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
So,
they do.
So EOU does theirs outside, but it's
Did
not.
you see that there was a high school that had their graduation last weekend, and there was a downpour in the middle of the graduation. I mean,
what do you do? Stop it? You can't.
well, there was. I mean, it was like it was. I mean, anyhow, it was a lot of controversy because they knew that it was probably going to rain and they didn't have an alternative plan.
That's like the NAIA softball World Series that's going on right now. It's supposed to be over on Saturday, and if needed, a game Sunday.
Yeah.
But they still have 4 teams left in that tournament because the lightning and the rain in Columbus, Georgia has been so bad.
Wow.
They literally put them on delay and then cancel. Put them on delay, cancel. So one game took 3 days to play.
Goodness sakes.
Because of the weather. Yeah. It's crazy.
Man, how would you have any inconsistency in playing?
It's a little bit different for softball because when a baseball pitcher gets warmed up and throws,
right.
Generally you don't do it again that day because it's not a natural body movement and your arms get sore, the acid starts settling, and you basically got to run that out. Mm-hmm. But softball is a natural body movement, so they don't get the same. Those girls will throw 200-300 pitches in a day, no problem.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's way.
So there's not like a pitch count?
No, not in softball because it's a natural body movement. It's not. there's no long-lasting effects
Yeah.
on your arm. Throwing
Yeah.
overhand is an unnatural body movement, and it tears your arm up.
Huh. I wonder why that is.
I mean, I just explained it.
I know, but I'm just saying that people have been throwing rocks for
Yeah, but
millions of
not
years.
hundreds of rocks as hard as they possibly can.
Right, yeah, right. So, but I mean, yeah, anyhow, it doesn't matter. All right, well, hey, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back with Senior Oregon State Police Trooper Charlie Rohlf. We'll be right back. All right, we're back with Senior Trooper Charlie Rohlf. How are you, Charlie?
Good, sir. How you doing?
I'm good. You can call me Brent. I know that's not in your rhythm.
I'll do my best.
All right. Yeah, how are you today, man?
Good. Just nice, kind of overclass Thursday. Just ready to go to work like I normally do.
Yeah. So you and I have intersected personally a number of times.
Yes, sir.
And you have you've watched the show when you can, every once in a while, and this particular morning show. So.
Yes, sir. I do. Usually I watch and listen to it when I'm getting ready for work. I usually don't come into work super early. So.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person, so these Tuesdays and Thursdays kill me.
No, it's funny because when we first started talking about doing the AM show, Kyle was like, "What? It's going to start at 8? Yeah, we have to start it at 8. You know." I said, well, it's better than starting it at 7. Yeah, I guess so. You know, anyhow. Well, cool. Well, so tell us about what do you do for Oregon State Police? And you and I were talking. I grew up in Hawaii. Every state calls it a little bit different something. Yeah, and so I've really struggled to get that name correct. What do you do for Oregon State Police?
Yeah, my main role right now in the department is I'm a canine handler. I work a drug detection canine. So my job, when I'm working patrol or working the road, is go out looking for DTOs or drug trafficking organizations that are smuggling drugs into the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. And dogs are very specifically trained for specific things, right? I mean, so like Molly, the sheriff's canine, is really trained for pursuit. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, she's what we would call a patrol dog. So she does like tracking and apprehension of criminals.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And what's your dog's name again?
My dog's name is Orr, like iron ore, O-R-E.
Okay. Yeah. And Orr is trained for, talk to me a little bit about training a dog for drug detection.
Yeah, so my dog is trained to detect 4 drug odors. That'd be cocaine, meth, heroin, and fentanyl. And it's just like any other odor. You can train dogs to detect any odor. Mine is for drugs. So.
Yeah.
No, they don't even worry about weed anymore?
No, we haven't had weed on our dogs or marijuana on our dogs for probably 10 or 15 years.
Right, it's not a priority.
Yeah.
So then, So then, when you're out patrolling, kind of tell me what do you do when you patrol? Are you driving? Are you parked and watching? Or, kind of what is I have no idea. We all know what a patrol officer that's going to be monitoring speeding and so what they do, but what functions do you do? How do you do that?
Yeah, mainly when I'm out there, I kind of do a little both, a little sitting and a little bit patrolling and looking for people. A lot of the stuff we do is we kind of have like a three-step process we go through as someone looking for DTOs. Is we look for like driving pattern changes. We're out and we see hundreds, if not thousands, of cars a day, and when we see driving pattern changes, i.e., slowing down, weird lane changes, or getting off of the main path or the interstate when they don't really need to. So those are the little things first things that we do that catches our eye, and then we do some other like data type stuff. We run the plates and just check the RO, check the addresses, and just kind of do like a little mini investigation before we stop the car.
So then, if they see you and you're in a marked vehicle, and then according to their action, if they change something, then those are just kind of things that trigger you a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah. So then, tell me how are drugs transported? Part of it is you're looking for drugs that are being transported through the state of Oregon. What are the patterns? Where do drugs even come from, and where do they go to?
Yeah, most of the drugs that we get here, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anybody. It comes from Mexico.
Right.
It comes from Mexican cartels. And they make them and manufacture them, and they bring them up and they put them in stash houses in those southern border states, and then from there they are transported north or up to the Pacific Northwest into other stash houses. We have stash houses in the Umatilla area, a lot of stash houses.
There's a lot in Salem too, or
Yep,
the Salem area.
Tri-Cities, Spokane, Portland. There's just they basically make it in Mexico, bring it across the border, put it in a stash house down there. Someone up here orders it up, and they transport it up here and then distribute it out to your local dealers, I would say.
So it's almost like a commercial operation. Like if you had a grocery store or a grocery delivery, or outlet or something,
Yes. So here's kind of a weird fact that I've learned through doing this work is, how big the American ag business is, the farming and ranching in America.
Yeah.
So the Mexican cartel drug business is actually bigger than the American ag business.
That's crazy.
So
that's crazy.
think
When you
about
really think about that, that's
crazy. And how do you measure that in terms of money or people involved or
money.
Money. Okay. Yeah. So how does that? So certainly, and all of that is directed by the cartel from Mexico. All of that whole process.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't know a cartel member if I guess that's the point, if they walk by me. How is that? How does that happen? And we don't even, are we just kind of in a protected place, or am I ignorant and I don't know what I'm seeing? Or, just talk to me about that.
I think a lot of it is just people just don't know what they're looking for when they're doing that. The cartels are the one running the drug business, just like any other business you have. You might have people that are employed by you, but then you might have like subcontractors, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And sometimes the cartels will actually subcontract out the people that transport the drugs. They try to separate themselves as far as they can from the drugs, so if that person gets picked off in transit, that they're not also going to get wrapped up in an investigation.
So is it kind of like we do see it on TV where there's a shipment and it gets interrupted and people are really pissed because it got interrupted and they lost money and then they're trying to hurt? Is that kind of a realistic perspective of kind of what happens?
Yeah, kind of like that. I don't think they really get really mad about it. Just like any other business that you have, it's the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
There's a percentage of they know that's going to get picked off by law enforcement, and that's just in their what we could say their business plan.
Yeah,
Right.
Their business plan is to minimize that.
Yeah. In some of the investigations that we had, when we pick up drugs, they're like, that's going to happen. It's what really hurts them is when we pick off large amount of cash, because they can make more drugs, they can't make more cash.
Oh, interesting.
Sure,
So-
interesting. What's the biggest? Can you talk about like what's the biggest drug bust you've ever been on? Any big ones?
I've been on some pretty big cases. I think last year, I seized my biggest drug case myself last year was 50 pounds of meth.
Oh,
So
50 pounds.
yeah, I was part of the, I don't know, was it last year, 2 years ago, the big fentanyl bust where there was like a little under $4 million and a bunch of fentanyl seized.
Where do they hide all that in a car?
I was kind of wrapped up in that investigation a little bit. If it could be all over, sometimes what we call a suicide load, they just put it in like a luggage, like a suitcase in
the trunk and roll.
Some of the cartels, like the Juarez cartels, they're more into like modifying cars and putting traps in there where it's a little harder to find.
Right.
So
That's crazy, man.
but-
Crazy.
So then part of your job with OR is to, is that right? Did I say that right? Is to, I mean, he, yeah, he helps you identify. I mean, so kind of tell me what happens when when he is keyed off and how that progresses.
Yeah, so like, the dog is a tool. We look at it as a tool. I mean, yeah, he's my partner, and if something happened to him, I'd be upset, but he's a tool for us, and his job is to determine, is there a trained drug odor in this vehicle? And then if we can't find it, we can put him in the vehicle to try to pinpoint where we need to look in the vehicle. I found traps under, like in the floorboard. We've had some firewall traps. We've had traps in like the side panels or the doors, or I personally haven't found any, but sometimes they floated in the gas tank. So
I've seen that on
we
TV.
we use OR just to determine that there is drugs in there, and then if we need to, we'll put them in the car and pinpoint like a certain area of the vehicle that we should really focus on our search. Mm-hmm. Because as you guys know, like inside of a vehicle, there's lots of places where you can hide lots of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
In the ceiling, in the door panels, in the rocker panels. I mean, we've pulled guns out of like the air box. Like you open the air filter box and there's the air filter, and then there's a handgun sitting on top of it. It's just, we found, me and Armstrong found a gun one time that was like up under like the back, like stuffed in the frame of a SUV, just hanging out there. So
Weird. So basically, once OR hits, that's probable cause right
Yep,
there.
yep.
So then you can go in manually or however and say, the dog hit on one of these 4 drugs. That's good enough reason for me to search your car.
correct, yeah. Canine alert in the state of Oregon is probable cause. With some of the new case law that came out, it all depends if you can search it roadside or if you have to apply for a warrant. If someone denies consent in the state of Oregon and you get a dog alert, you have to write a warrant to seize that vehicle and then to search it. 5 years ago when the dog alerted, that gave you probable cause and you could just search it roadside.
Right, which is much easier than getting the warrant and seizing.
It
the
is much
vehicle.
easier, but I think having the warrant is more durable, easier for the DA to prosecute cases.
So when you have a warrant, does it take, are you parked there along the road and you're sending that information and getting the warrant while you're just held there? Is that kind of the...
You can either do it that way, or you can seize a vehicle with a seizure warrant, tow it to the office, and then write your warrant to search it. So a lot of it depends on where you're at, what county you're working in. Part of our canine program is we travel all over the state working as a canine unit. So, I've worked in probably almost every county within the state of Oregon.
Oh,
Wow.
interesting.
So,
That makes it interesting.
Well, and they all have different ways of having to navigate that, right? Because in that particular county, it's the DA, that county DA, that is giving you that warrant. Is that correct?
correct. Like when we go work like Albany or Lynn County, they
Yeah.
have like a telephonic search warrant where you like basically call the judge and you just read like this prescripted thing, and then the judge gives you the warrant over the phone.
Oh, wow.
Like here you
That
still,
sounds kind of old school to me.
yeah, it's a lot faster. It's kind of fast line. Like here in Union County and Baker County, most of the counties out east, is you'll write the warrant on paper and then you'll sign it electronically, send it to the judge. The judge will review it and then sign it, and then send it back to you.
Yeah. But that process might
interesting.
take, it might happen quickly, but it might take a little bit.
It's a few hours, 3, 4, 5 hours.
Yeah, obviously that's like.
It is not an easy process. It is a lot of work. I think that's why some troopers don't get into the drug interdiction. That's what we call what I do. It's because there was a lot of paperwork and you could spend a lot of time behind a desk writing.
Yeah.
paper.
Sounds like it.
Well, and so, like in a particular case like that, then if you're out and you find the car on the side of the road, you need a warrant, but you know it's going to take a few hours, then you're seizing that vehicle.
Yeah.
So it gets towed back to wherever.
Back to our office, then we'll apply for a warrant to search it,
Yeah.
search these and analyze it.
Yeah, and then the person who was caught, are they held somewhere? Or
You know,
what happens to them?
Typically, what we do, they're not usually locals, is we usually just give them a ride to town and drop them off, and then hopefully by the time they skip town, we are able to go find them if we find drugs.
Yeah.
You know, and if for some reason we can't find them, whatever, we just issue a warrant for their arrest, and they'll be picked up, and they'll see their day in court another day.
Can you not hold them while you're waiting for the warrant?
You could hold them because you have probable cause, but then you got to think about man hours, right? Like we don't have so many troopers on.
Right.
You know, you're gonna need someone writing a warrant. You need someone babysitting them. You're gonna need someone taking calls. So at the end of the day, just purely for man hours or people involved, we usually don't detain them and hold them.
Gotcha.
So.
So working this stretch of 84, this Eastern Oregon stretch, what's the number one drug you see?
I would say fentanyl and meth are the number one and number two drugs, and I think they're pretty close.
Are they?
You know, I think fentanyl is more of your younger crowd, where meth is more of that older crowd. But cocaine is on its way back. Last year our team seized a whole bunch of cocaine going up to Canada. So, and you know, I talked to like Sutton and some of those school resource officers, and
Yeah.
you know, they're seeing a little bit more of that in the school and
I've
the
heard
younger
that.
age. So, it's on its way back. But like I said, I think meth and fentanyl are the two biggest drugs that we deal with.
When the dog hits, does it hit different on different drugs?
Nope.
So it's just the same no matter what. So if you say somebody had a shipment of cocaine, you don't know if fentanyl's in it until you test it.
Correct. And would be the crime lab testing it. So,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, my dog has what we call a focused air alert or final indication. So basically just get to the strongest source of odor that he can get to, and then he'll just kind of lock up and just keep his nose on until it gets rewarded or praised off.
Oh, that's cool. Is OR trained in pursuit too?
Nope.
Just
drug detection.
Just drug detection.
But just they use Molly the same way. It's like you see the dog, you have no idea what it's trained for, but it's intimidating. It just being around, you know.
Yeah, just sometimes the dog barking gets people like, I'll stop cars and OR's pretty relaxed in the car the whole time, but as soon as I either click my body cam on or I go 12-2 traffic, he's up spinning in the back of the kennel, starting to whine and bark, and then I get out and he's barking the whole time I'm up there. Come back in my car, stops barking.
He thinks it's
Do my
go
paperwork,
time.
and then as soon as I get back out and go over there, he's just bark, 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 and people will be like, 2 and 10 on the wheel, and just be like, is that your dog? I'm like, yeah, that's Fido back there, just
Keep
barking
the
away.
door shut, please.
So it's pretty funny, just the bark of a dog and some people's reaction to it. So.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's seen like cops and videos on the internet, and it never ends well for this, because even if she's not or he's not trained in pursuit, we don't, if we're pulled over, I wouldn't know that.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, no, I've seen the videos, like, I ain't even messing with that thing. No
Yeah,
way.
War's kind of he's more black than brown, dark, and like a dog you don't really want to meet in the back of an alley. 'Cause
Right.
He looks like he has a big bite.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. I mean, that's a good thing, I think, especially for the role that he's playing. He's
Yeah, the
gotta
first
be-
dog I had was a yellow lab, so he's a little more looked a little friendlier. So.
So
your toughness credentials went up when you got OR.
Yeah,
From the yellow lab, I've been like, oh, this guy's a softie. You got that dog? I'm like, okay, no.
Yeah, he means business, yeah.
Yeah.
So then how does OR integrate with the rest of your family? And you've got other animals. Talk to me about, what do you do with OR when he's not in the car?
Yeah, so like I said, Or's my second dog. I got him in 2019, and that's when me and my wife were just starting to kind of have kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like little kids at home, and like you were saying, like he looks the part, and we're obviously building a relationship. So when I first got him, I'm like, how is he going to be with my kids? I was
Right.
afraid, like,
100%.
how's that going to work? Come to find out, one of the best family dogs I've ever had. I remember the first week I got him, my oldest boy at home, Mason, was probably just a couple years old, and he fell down and was crying. Nora just sat there and was circling him, and this is the first week I had him. I'm like, is he going to let me get my kid?
Right.
Because he looks mean, and I'm like, I hope so, because he's just circling, barking and barking and barking. And luckily enough, he let me get my kid, and come to find out, one of the best fun bugs we ever had. But, when I'm at work, he's with me. When I'm at home, he's at my house. My kids, usually feed him, take care of him. He just runs around. I mean, we got 4 or 5 other dogs at home, and he runs around. He chews sticks and rolls in cow poop. We got cows and sheep and chickens, and there's been a few times where he's been in the corral with the cows, and the cows are running, and he's chasing the cows, and I'm chasing him, and we're just in this big circle. This is probably when I first got him, because I don't think he's seen barn animals.
Right.
The last 5 years, he's just super chill. I mean, he just goes, finds a stick, and if you let him, he'll eat the whole stick, because that's what mouths do, just weird things like that. So every once in a while, we'll take him on, like, I try to run him. I guess I'm the lazy runner, because I get on the four-wheeler and he runs, and try to keep him in shape. But
how far is he into his career? Like, how long?
We try to get at least 5 years out of him, but really it comes back to the dog. As long as the dog likes to play the game and is still willing to do the game, then we'll let him continue to play the game. The older the dogs get, like one day they're just gonna be like, you know what, I'm done. Like Buddy, my lab, like he hated riding in the car, and we're like, hey, he's done. He likes to play the game, but he doesn't like to be in the car, and you got to be able to do both. If you can't be in the car, then you can't go play the game.
Right.
So we retired him, and that's when I got Orr. So it's really dog dependent. I look at my dog; he's in good shape. We feed him good food. I exercise him. I wouldn't be surprised if he could do another 2 or 3 years. We're pushing it, but.
Will you keep him when, he'll be a pet?
Yeah, yeah. Like Buddy, my lab, he's at home. He's 14, 15 years old.
You still have the lab?
I still have Buddy. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And unfortunately, I think his days are numbered. He's getting up there. And
that's pretty old for a dog. Yeah.
I kind of live on that theory. If he can get up and go drink water and eat food, then he'll be good.
Yeah.
So, but
interesting.
I think Buddy's probably, his days are numbered for sure. So.
That's interesting. I mean, and I'll bet Orr is able, he knows your moods. He understands when you're keyed up a little bit or when you,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, dogs definitely, they feel your emotions, or they know if you're amped up or not amped up, know. But on the same note, though, like as a trooper, I still go to normal trooper calls, and we go to a fatal or whatever, and there's some things that we see that are hard. And I get back in my car and I look back, because he's always in the kennel right here. And it's hard to have a bad day when you got a dog in the car with you every day. So it's really being in the canine program and having a dog has really allowed me to have a good career, one mentally and physically, because everybody loves dogs. I love dogs, and it just kind of keeps you just, your heart soft and just.
So really,
easy.
in your life, the dog plays 3 roles. Really, I mean, he's a pet. He's a tool, and he's also like a tool for you, an emotional support.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So, and I mean, I don't know a lot of people can say this, but I mean, I've just hit 17 years on this department, and I still enjoy getting up and going to work every day. And after 17 years to be able to say that, I think that speaks volumes. I mean, there was some years that were harder than others.
Of course.
But this morning I got up at 5:30 to make sure I was here early enough and I wasn't late, and I looked forward to coming to work. And this afternoon we got some other stuff going on that I'm looking forward to, and
it's awesome.
So,
what about 110? How did that impact your job?
110, I think was really based on your mindset, right? Like, so drugs were decriminalized. That doesn't mean you could legally possess them.
Right.
And for me, it was I willing to do the work, i.e. writing a search warrant or whatever, for a violation? And at the end of the day, I said, I get paid the same amount of money if I do this or do that. So, like, for me, nothing really changed. Okay. The only thing that changed is how you charge the person, right? If they had a violation amount, you wrote them a speeding ticket, basically. If they had a misdemeanor amount, you wrote them a ticket for misdemeanor. If they had a felony amount, you wrote them a ticket or charge them with felony. So at the end of the day, for me and my mindset of going out didn't really change. It just changed the outcome of that person, how they were getting charged.
Gotcha.
But was part of that though, because a lot of what you're doing is looking for volume drugs, yeah. So it might have become more complicated for somebody who is, in the past would have ticketed a drug user. The focus had to be mostly more on what it is that you already do, and that is, looking for bulk stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. When I'm out there, I'm looking for what we call kilos or pounds of dope, or ounces,
Yeah, you want the big hit.
Like obviously, sometimes getting what we call the smaller fish or the users or the low-level dealers, sometimes using them to get up to the higher fish is important. But every day, my job is to go out to the interstate and look for people that are smuggling, like bulk narcotics or bulk cash. So yeah.
Is there any and this is a little bit off the subject, but is there any specific stereotype or stigma that you think people have of state police in Oregon that you think is completely off?
I think the biggest thing was probably just quotas. You got to write so many tickets or whatever. But, so the myth is you're only stopping these because
it's the end of the month.
You got to get your quota in. We don't have quotas. I mean, honestly, we're not even told. It's up to the trooper if you write someone a ticket or not. There's a few violations the department says you must write, like driving while suspended, you got to write that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, our bosses ask us just to go out, stop cars, be productive, help people when they need help. But we don't have to stop 10 cars or write 10 tickets or, anything like that when it comes to work. The only thing that we had to do, is our truck inspectors have to do 32 truck inspections a year to keep certified. And
that's what route does.
Yeah. So to say that's a quota, I mean, you could say it's a quota because you got to do 32, but it's 32 because that's how many you have to do to keep your certificate.
Right. Yeah.
So,
to make sure you're on top of your game. Nice.
Do you interface with people that are, I'm sure you do, that are under the influence of drugs? How do you, because that's more complicated to detect, right?
It is. So we do have what we call DREs or drug recognition experts for people that are impaired on something other than alcohol. I am one of two. We're going to have a third here real soon. In our county, it's a DRE. So for me, it's a little easier because I have the extra training. DRE school is probably one of the hardest schools as a cop. It's 4 weeks long.
Wow.
And I didn't go to college, and I think the final exam to become a DRE, you have 8 or 10 hours to complete the test. And I think it took me everything except for, if it was 10 hours, I can't remember if it was 8 or 10. I think it was 8 hours. But it took me 7 hours and 45 minutes to complete the written test to become a DRE. So,
wow.
And that's looking for the people. So if somebody's sweating profusely or they're just giving off signs of being, intoxicated on something other than alcohol.
Yeah. So the main role of a DRE is, let's say a regular trooper, an officer or deputy stops someone, they arrest them for DUI. And they give a breath sample and they blow 0 zeros,
Yeah,
right?
but they're high on something.
Yep. So the DRE would come in and do an evaluation. So they'll do a lot of the same physical tests. They'll look at the pupil size. They'll measure body temperature, pulse, and then at the end of that, the DRE has to make these decisions. Either one, you got to say, yes, they are impaired, or no, they're not impaired. And then if they're not impaired, then you just write your report saying, at this time, I do not believe this person is impaired as a DRE. And then if they are impaired, you got to determine, are they impaired because of a medical issue? Are they impaired because of a drug substance? And then if you're well, they're a medical issue, then you recommend them to go, to the hospital, get checked out. I actually one time ruled out a kid on a medical. And then 2 years later, I was at Miller's. And this guy came up to me and goes, sir, do you know who I am? I don't know who you are. Because you did an evaluation on me 2 years ago, and you recommended that I need to go to the medical. He was having some kind of heart issue as a young young man. And like, fortunately enough, like the evaluation, he went up there and took my advice and figured out he had some heart issue. And he goes, I just wanted to thank you for
that's
recommending
awesome.
that. So yeah, it's one of those small things. But back to what the DRE stuff. So if you determine that they're impaired by a drug substance, then we have like a matrix where there's 7 drug categories, and then you got to determine which drug category they're impaired on, or multiple drug categories. And then you have to make those calls, and they send the urine, the blood off, and you got to say a certain percentage of calls on drugs. So like,
So if you say yes, this person's impaired, does that give you the warrant to get the blood? Like what? How do you? So if you pull someone over and you know they're not drunk, right? You already know they're not drunk, but they're high, and you want to sample their blood or their urine. How do you go about that? What do you have to do?
well, first thing we do is in law enforcement, we like to do everything on consent.
Right,
If
of
people
course.
consent, then we definitely want to do that. But if
Yeah.
they don't consent, then yeah, we have to go with the warrant. Then you have to, you in your affidavit, get probable cause.
And is your testimony as a DRE probable cause?
It could be, yes, depending on what you're observing and seeing during that evaluation, for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
that's
but yeah,
interesting.
then once you figure out which drug category is, you got to make that call or write a report, and you make that call, and you're not going to get the urine or blood back for several months.
Takes them that long?
Oh yeah, unless
Wow.
the DA asks for it to be rushed, but if you just send it off, it'll be
Couple
several months
months?
before the urine or the blood comes back.
That's
So,
crazy. Wow.
So all of that work, though, so like, and so then does, like, if county pulls over somebody and they're suspicious, can they call you to come do a DRE evaluation?
yeah, they call me to do a DRE. They call me to use my dog. I mean, yeah, it's one of our main roles as the state police is to assist other agencies.
Yeah.
I mean, I work very closely with the PD here. I work very closely with the county here. I mean, I work closely with Baker County. I mean, having one of the only drug dogs on this side of 97, I mean, I travel all over.
So
Yeah.
you get all the calls from other agencies
Yeah.
like, hey, we got a truck pulled over. We want you to come bring ore and let them have a little run.
Yeah.
But the man hour, I mean, the hours that takes, I mean, is a lot. Whereas you have in the DRE training, you don't have to call somebody else. You have the ability to do that evaluation right there, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess at what point is it not worth it? You know what I mean? How do you make that gauge if you know somebody is under the influence of something other than alcohol? How do you make that decision of, like, that it's worth all of that time in order to do that?
When it comes to DRE stuff, it's, if another officer calls,
He's already made the decision.
If they're investigating, he's already arrested for DUI, right?
Yeah.
So now it's determined, what substance he's impaired on, or if he's having medical.
Right.
Or sometimes they meant, we call, as a DRE, we call no impairment. And that doesn't help the cop's case, but it definitely helps the suspect's case.
Right. Right.
Because, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't impaired at the time he got pulled over either, though, because there's certain things like inhalants that, like the half-life for an inhalant is very short, and the odds of a DRE actually getting impairment on an inhalant is going to be pretty small, because they're usually back to normal or
Yeah.
Like
homeostasis.
they got paint
Yeah.
all over their nose.
Before the DRE shows up. So,
Yeah.
for me, it's I've been a servant most of my life, or all of my adult life, because I was in the Marine Corps and then I started this job. And when someone calls and asks for help, I usually will come help.
What did you do in the Marines?
I was a comm guy, worked on radios.
Were you? Nice.
So,
Camp Pendleton or Lejeune?
Camp Pendleton.
Camp. I grew up down there, and my grandfather was a Marine, so I spent a lot of time on Camp Pendleton.
Yeah.
It was like my second home. My mom was a heroin addict, so I lived with my grandparents a lot, and my grandfather was retired at the time, but he was a warden for the Federal Bureau of Prisons down in San Diego at the time. And so we spent a lot of time Camp Pendleton.
Yeah.
I love that place, actually.
Yeah, I was just down there with my family. My oldest boy graduated boot camp in December, so
Oh, nice.
we just went back there after almost 17 years, 16 years. So some things haven't changed.
Yeah.
So how you were in the Marine Corps for 6 years?
5 years.
5. So what made you change to where did you go from there? Kind of give me your life story a little bit.
Yeah, so, I was born and raised in Montana on a small ranch, pretty much Canadian. Shortly after that, I joined the Marine Corps. I did my 5 years there, went through a divorce, had my oldest boy, Charlie. And the only way I could promise him that I could be with him if he ever needed me was by getting out, because unfortunately in the Marine Corps, you're stateside sometimes and you're forward deployed sometimes.
Right.
So at that time I decided, it's best for me and my only kid at the time was to get out so I could be there for him. About 8 or 9 months before I got out of the Marine Corps, they have a big law enforcement career down at Camp Pendleton, and OSB had a booth there, and I'm like, well, I figured I was going back to Montana because that was home. They were there, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of close to Montana. And so I started talking with them, and they're like, hey, we're doing all the written tests, the physical test, all this weekend down at Camp Pendleton. I'm like, I'm probably going to be a cop. I'll just do it for the experience. So I went and took the physical test, passed, took the written test, passed, took the first psych eval test, passed. And back then they handed me this big old packet of paperwork, like, fill this out, make sure it's post-dated before this date. And it was all had to be handwritten.
Oh,
so I filled it all out, sent it off. The first time I ever came to Oregon, the first time ever coming to Oregon was for my initial job interview for OSB.
Oh, wow.
So I flew up to Salem, flew up to Portland, drove down to Salem, did my initial job interview, got offered a job, as long as you pass the psych and the physical and all that stuff. And jumped all those hoops. About 2 months before I got out, well, maybe 2 or 3 months before I got out of the Marine Corps, I remember Captain Greg called me and goes, hey, sir, I'd like to offer you a job in LeGrand. And I'm like, well, let me Google it and see where LeGrand is.
Yeah.
So I Googled it. I'm like, yeah, that's close.
Like home. Seems perfect.
Yeah, so when you apply, you get this list. You get to have like a list of 5 offices that you want to go to. And I filled out my offices based on how many miles it was from that town back to my parents' house in Montana.
Where did LeGrand rank?
LeGrand was actually 4. So Hermiston was my first choice, Pendleton, Enterprise, LeGrand, and then Baker.
Oh, yeah, so all Eastern Oregon.
So, yeah, it was 100% based on how many miles it was from that town to my parents' house.
That's funny.
Think about it. My whole life has been based on how many miles it was from my parents' house to the town I live in now. And I've been here for 17 years.
You never know when you might need mom's cooking.
So, yeah. So they offered me a job. I got out on May 9th. I got out of the Marine Corps, and May 24th, I was checking into the police academy.
Wow.
So, the rest is history.
When you went police academy, the state police have their own academy, right? But back then they might not have.
No, we were at the academy. I think I was the.
So you were in Monmouth.
No, I was the second, because before Monmouth, OSP was at Camp Riley
by
it was? Itself.
Okay.
And then they built the academy now with DPSST is what we call it.
In Salem.
In
Right.
Salem.
Yeah.
And I was either the 3rd or 4th class that went through at DPSST. Okay. And every cop, even troopers now, go through the 16-week basic police academy together. That's all agencies and everybody.
And they used to do it separate, though, right?
Correct, yes. OSP also does a pre and a post academy, which is only OSP.
Yeah, because you have different responsibilities, like the truck evaluations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What is it, the truck inspection?
Yeah, truck inspections. Yeah, I'd say like our pre-academy is more of just learning the ways and traditions. OSP is really good on teaching our troops, our recruits, the history of OSP. Like most of all of our recruits that go through know that we've lost 34 troopers in our department. They know, you go ask a trooper, when was the department founded? They're all going to tell you August 1st, 1931. Mm-hmm. We were founded by a Marine, one of 2 Marines that got 2 Medal of Honors. So a lot of our pre-academies, obviously getting ready for the basic police academy, but it's kind of indoctrination into OSB. So you learn the history, you just learn kind of the trooper way of life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a common, when I first, when I became kind of involved in the law enforcement community and became more aware, in our little bubble here, it's like, well, you've got, when I'm on the freeway, I see OSP, or I sometimes see them on, the other roads, and I see cops locally here, and I see sheriff. Anyhow, and the OSP I don't see as often, and so there was always a presumption for me that, I don't know. I guess the point is this: is that I didn't realize that OSP they've got the major crime land. They've got, it really is the big dog. I mean, just because of resources. I mean, the state dumps so much money into making those resources that are shared with local agencies and are essentially tools. And I don't know for what reason I didn't ever put that together.
Yeah, like I said, one of our number one goals or one of our missions, especially in Eastern Oregon, is being a resource for the other departments or other agencies. So, the first 8 years I was on, I worked night shift. And, working day shift and night shift are two different characters or two different beasts, because when you're on night shift, a lot of times, there's 1 or 2 county guys on, and you're basically just kind of chasing him to his calls, domestics, there's more domestics at night because everybody's at home, they're not working. And, our night troopers.
The freaks come out at night.
Our night troopers, I almost call them glorified deputies, because a lot of times they're with the deputy most of the night going to domestics and bird calls or, bird alarm calls and stuff like that. Unlike when I'm coming to day shift, there's enough deputies and city guys on that they cover those and have enough backup for themselves. So like day shift, we're more like the highway patrol. Like, I go out and, work, my drug stuff on speeders and stuff like that. So it's definitely working day shift and night shift for OSP is two different beasts, especially in Eastern Oregon.
Well, and more people travel during the day. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Less people on the freeway at night.
Yeah.
So what hours do you work now?
So I'm blessed because I work what we call an itinerary. So every Thursday I call my boss or email my boss and tell him when I'm going to work next week. So I'm actually not set on a patrol schedule. So I can kind of come and go when I want, which it's beneficial for the department because like this, I don't usually come on early, but I just came on early and instead of charging overtime, I just do straight time.
Yeah.
Or like, my kids are playing baseball for the first time this year, and Tuesdays and Thursdays are the game, so I'd make sure that I'm off in time to make it to the baseball game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
That's awesome.
So then you have a certain amount of hours you have to work, but you're able to just, just kind of flex. And do that.
So like normal people, I have a 40-hour work week, but then it's kind of different because I get paid 1 hour of a day to take care of my dog. So like on today's day, like I came on at 6:30, but like in my notebook, I technically came on at 5:30 because I get an hour of canine care.
Got it.
So,
Right.
so I work 4 nights,
Okay.
and then I get paid 1 hour a day on my day off to take care of the dog.
Oh.
But you have the dog 24/7, so you're taking care of that dog all the time.
Yeah. So
Well, interesting. What do you love about the job? I mean, you said I still love it every day.
yeah, I just able to help people that need help. I was at a service one time where the master of ceremony was talking about, the crack of a siren when people are in dire need is like that. For them, people that are, in an emergency or they need help or they're just in a situation where they just are overwhelmed. When they hear the crack of that siren, like that instantly relieves them and the pressure that they're in, knowing that help is that close. Yeah. So that's kind of what keeps me going every day, is just knowing that, some days I don't help a lot of people, but some days I help the one person that needs that help that moment.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what keeps me going.
Yeah.
And I would imagine like the Miller story, too. The kid coming up to you like, hey, man, I know we didn't meet under the best circumstances, but what you did, and you didn't even know.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean,
It
like I
was
said,
just
it was
part of
several
your-
years later,
Yeah.
and I didn't know until he told me that. And I would have never known. Obviously, we don't do this work, for those praises and awards and stuff
No.
like that. It's, we do it because, one, that's just the only thing that we know, so we do it. Or two, a lot of people do it because they want to help people.
Right.
Do you have any of those stories where you caught somebody that wasn't on a good path, and then you see them later, and because of some of the stuff that they've gone through, they've kind of recouped and they're in a better place. Are you able to follow those stories much?
Yeah, especially in a small community like this, like you see, it's easier to see here than in like the metro area, right? Like, cause I've been doing it long enough where like I'm arresting little kids that were little kids when I was arresting their parents. But then I've seen some of those kids grow up and be good, productive citizens. And I've seen even some adults that have changed their ways and have come, do we say the right side of the law or the left side of the law?
Yeah.
that have become what I call productive citizens. Like when I arrest people, the majority of the time they actually thank me. Like, dude, you treated me with respect. You were very nice. I appreciate that. And I tell people, I said, I'm going to treat you like if you're one of my family members.
Right.
Until you give me a reason not to.
Right.
Because if my family member was in your shoes, I would want them to be treated with respect and dignity. And that's got me a long ways. I see people, some people probably don't like me because of what I do. But I would say a large amount of them, really appreciate that. And it is rewarding to see some of the people that, I've arrested for drug stuff, get clean and get a job and be productive citizens. When I arrest people for especially drug stuff for users, I said, my number one goal isn't to take you to jail. My number one goal at the end of this is to get you clean, to get you treatment, get you help.
Keep you
because
alive.
if I can do that, then, you're going to be a productive person for this community.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, so talk to us about the Oregon Fallen Badge Foundation.
Yeah. So I've been on our honor guard team, OSB honor guard team, pretty much my whole career. Right after I come off probation, and as I worked through the ranks of honor guard, I became an active deployment member for the Oregon Fallen Badge Foundation. So the Oregon Fallen Badge Foundation was a foundation that was formed in 2011 by a couple of honor guard guys from multiple agencies. And their number one mission is to serve a family in a department when someone's killed in the line of duty. Unfortunately, before the foundation, there were some incidents where departments weren't doing the best thing for the family that lost a loved one. So that's why the foundation was kind of formed. Washington has Behind the Badge Foundation, and that's kind of where we kind of mimic their stuff. They've been a foundation for like 25 years or so. Somewhere in there. And so like our number one goal when we first found the foundation was formed was to be able to serve the family in the department of someone that killed in the line of duty and financially pay for that service. Because, sometimes these services, especially for a line of duty, they can be pretty big. You can, anywhere from 3,000 to 7,000 people could show up for these.
Yeah.
And it was to mainly, like I said, protect and serve the family department, and then financially just take that responsibility. So, now, we're set up to where we could do multiple line of duty death services if we had to. Hopefully, never have to. Hopefully, we never in my career have to do another one. I'm okay with that because that means we all made it home at night.
Right.
So, as the foundation started growing and developing. I'm not quite sure what year it started, but we started doing stuff called active duty death services, where 2 of our response team members would deploy and help plan a service for an active cop that got killed, not in the line of duty, like Daniel Johnson with cancer,
Right.
or a car crash, or suicide, or whatever it is. So as the foundation has been developed, we are extending and our assistance to the departments and the families in these active duty death services. So
that's cool.
last year, I think we did 7 or 8 services in 2025.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think that's it. You and I have interfaced on a couple of those unfortunate events. And so, and thankfully, when was the last time an officer was killed in the line of duty?
The last time that we was killed in the line of duty was Corporal Johnson at Anissa PD. And I think that was in 2022.
It was
It's
right
been
at the end of COVID, like right towards
Yeah, it's been
the
like
tail
4 or
end
5
of COVID.
years.
Yeah.
So, and then our last active duty death was a Hillsborough PD officer. Had a heart attack earlier this year.
Yeah.
Dang.
And so then, and you said NISA?
NISA PD.
So then your services, they're not they're not highway police. They're not OHP.
OSP.
OSP, thank you. Related. I mean, they can be to any law enforcement.
Correct, yep.
Yeah.
This last year was after the first time that we served one of our federal agencies. They lost the BLM lost a ranger down in Klamath
Okay.
to cancer, and we deployed 2 of our members down there and, helped the family and the BLM plan that service. So.
Wow.
So you just show up, you meet with the family, and you just kind of take over the hard stuff.
We don't show up. We only show up if we're requested.
Okay.
So like the department head has to reach out to the executive, so either the president or one of the 2 vice presidents, and ask for assistance, and then we will go. We're only going to go if both the family and the department wants us.
Okay.
Which I think now that the foundation's been formed and has a good working relationship with most of the department heads, we're one of the first calls. So.
And how is the foundation funded? How is it paid
Through
for?
fundraisers. So we have 2 main fundraisers that we do a year. We have the ball and auction, which is like cop prom, basically. That's what I call it.
Cop prom?
Cop prom, yeah. So we dress up. It's a suit and tie. And
Oh, that's fun.
The gals get to wear their dresses. It's usually in April. It's been at Seven Feathers the last couple of years, and I think we're going to move it north.
Down south, huh?
Yeah. We're going to move it north this next year. You both are invited if you want to come. You just got to pay a ticket.
That'd be fun.
And then there's a golf tournament that we do in the summertime too. So
Where's that at?
it's somewhere in the valley.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like
So.
on the west side?
But then we have little fundraisers. Like my department right now they're doing this physical fitness challenge, and you raise money, and all the money that the OSP raises will be donated to the Order of Fallen Badge Foundation.
Oh, that's awesome.
People, will just donate.
Yeah.
It's pretty heartwarming to know how many people have good hearts and their heart and their mind. are
Especially
the right
in
places
this area.
to donate. So.
People are very willing to step up. How'd you get involved in it? Like, why did you, what?
So like I said, I was in honor guard.
Yeah.
One of the vice presidents kind of just was watching me from afar for a while and realized that, he's always at these events. He's always helping out. He's willing to do whatever is asked of him. And then basically asked me to come on as a response team member. And then, I'm okay with just, being behind closed doors and doing the work that no one sees.
Yeah.
And then one day he's like, hey, we have a board spot open. You mind come on the board? They voted me on the board. And then to be an executive, so the president or the vice president, you have to be an active law enforcement officer. And the statewide vice president spot became vacant this May because the trooper that was holding it, the lieutenant that was holding it, retired. So then they asked if I'd be willing to take over the statewide vice president spot. And I said, well, if that's where you guys think where you need me, and that's where I can be most productive, then I'll take over that role.
Nice.
So.
And you've been in the honor guard. You're still in the honor guard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, yeah, and like our honor guard, OSP honor guard, we do services for like our retirees. Like if we have a retiree that passes away, and the family reaches out, we'll go and fold the flag and play taps, and we have a bagpiper that can play. So.
I've seen the bagpiper before.
Yeah. Yep, we're actually going to have a second one coming on here real soon so we're going to have 2 bagpipers. We might just end up with a band someday.
That might be. Yeah, you're going to have a whole band.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Charlie, thank you.
Yeah.
And man, what a great conversation, and great to have you with us today. And thanks for watching our show. And
Thank you for the coin, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
awesome.
I was honored when you asked me to be here.
Yeah. Well, and come back, either yourself or somebody, I guess one question so locally, how far do you guys, we have an office here in LeGrand. How far do you guys go? I mean, you go almost anywhere.
Yeah.
But regularly, the people that are here, where do they go?
Yeah, so LeGrand, and if you're stationed in LeGrand, your main patrol area is Union County. So LeGrand is what we call the area command. So we have LeGrand as the area command, and then Enterprise and Baker are our outpost.
Okay.
So they're within our area command. So let's
Okay.
say we have a LeGrand trooper on, and we have a crash in Baker. We'll send a guy over to Baker to cover that crash. But at the end of the day, if like Pendleton doesn't have someone on, like
Yeah.
the LeGrand troop goes to Pendleton. Like it's a lot of times it's just whoever's closest gets stuck with that car, that call. You know, like there could be one of the LeGrand troops up because 243 Mount Emily overchange is kind of the county line, so that's where most troopers from LeGrand will go. But you know, if there's a crash and they're at 243 and there's a crash at the Meacham,
They're going.
the LeGrand troop's going, even though that's Pendleton's area.
Yeah.
So
And then in the outpost in Enterprise, I drive up to the lake. We have a cabin up there. And I've never been down that road. But do you have officers that stay in that area? Or are guys from LeGrand, are they just going, and that's kind of their clubhouse where they go up and hang out and launch from there?
There used to be a stater that lived up there.
yeah, no, we have an office in Enterprise.
Okay.
We have troops that live up there and work up there and stay up there, and
Yeah. So
So-
they're that's kind of their home
yeah,
area.
yeah,
but
they're stationed there.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, hey, thank you again so much. That was one other question that was kind of floating out there, and so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I guess if it happens in the state of Oregon, the state trooper could go to it.
Is that right?
So
Your jurisdiction is the state of Oregon.
yeah. So what's the fastest you've ever driven?
oh man, you know, when I had a Charger back then, we have V6s now, but the V8s, and they would get up to 156.
Oh, I could not.
Wow.
So the current Tahoe does about 126, 130.
Wow.
So we
I
try not
couldn't
to
do
go
it.
that fast unless we really need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, majority of the cops that are killed in the line of duty are in crashes,
Vehicle crashes.
and they're either
yeah.
in pursuit of a suspect or what we call in pursuit of time. You know, running code to go to a call.
Right.
So, you know, the older I get, the little
The less
slower
you're
I
inclined.
drive.
Yeah.
The less, you know, like it's one of those what we call 1299, which is emergency. Like,
Yeah.
get there now. If it's not like that kind of
Yeah.
call, then
Well, one of
I'll
the
get there
one of
as
the
fast
things
as I can safely.
on
Yeah.
social media that they really focus on, like talking about, is it's not worth chasing somebody. You know what I mean? Like your life, their life. You know, like you'll get them eventually. You ain't gonna
sooner or
outrun
later.
radio or a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, just go ahead. You know, like
yeah, there's times I think when the safety for the public, the person needs to be
100%.
caught, and there's times where if you know what the person is, we can catch them another day.
yeah,
So-
yeah. It's like 100%.
Unfortunately, you just got to weigh those options, you know,
In a split
really
second.
quick and make those decisions because the people that are reviewing that, they have a little bit more time to make that decision.
Oh, and they're hypercritical too,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
just people watching it online. I mean,
But I would say that I'm probably like an average cop.
yeah,
Most of us learn from our mistakes better than learning from a book. So
100%.
as long as you don't step in it too much, you'll be okay.
Right. Good.
We'll come back, and if there's some other people in the area that you want to bring with you or want to send in your place, I mean,
Well, I
yeah.
invited our captain, but unfortunately he had another meeting today, so I'll keep hounding him to get him down
Yeah.
here.
Well, I sent you that link where you can kind of schedule something in your own time. Yeah, we'd just love to have you back.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, you probably learned you're probably better off just to text me and tell me to be here.
Yeah, that might happen. So,
Awesome.
all right, you want to get us out of here?
Let's do it.
All right.
On this day, May 28th, which is also National Hamburger Day. I'm going to have a hamburger today. 1889, Edward Andre Michelin incorporates the Michelin Tire Company. 1929, the first all-color talking picture On with the Show is exhibited in New York. 1972, White House plumbers first break in at the Democratic National Headquarters. They were quote-unquote plumbers, but really they were installing listening devices at Watergate Complex in Washington, D.C. 1997, American mountaineer Wally Berg reaches the summit of Mount Everest for the third time. I mean, people die the very first time. A lot of people die.
Yeah, and
He
you go
did it
three
three
different-
times.
yeah.
3 times. I wonder if he did it with or without oxygen. 2006, on this day, Barry Bonds hits his 715th career home run, passing Babe Ruth. It's got an asterisk by it because of steroids, but I mean, Barry Bonds is the greatest hitter ever. I would argue that with anybody. I don't care if he did steroids or not. It takes more than steroids to hit a 100-mile-an-hour ball coming at you. 2023, surgeons complete the world's first whole eyeball transplant with a partial facial transplant for a U.S. veteran injured in an accident in at NYU Langone. A whole eyeball. First time ever. It was 3 years ago. The number one song in America on this day in 1996, which was my junior year in high school, Crossroads by Bone Thugs and Harmony. And the quote of the day comes from Robin Sharma. Change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. One more time. Change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end.
All right. Hey, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you being here. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Glad that you're here with us, and we'll
See you
soon.
Tuesday.